Okay, first start by dragging your background video onto your timeline, then drag your foreground image onto the layer on top of that. All right, now this could be any image you want. I'm using a dark image, you could use a light image, you could even use a plain black background, whatever you like. Okay, so in my case, I'm using this cool little editing console. And this entire transition is gonna last about 7 seconds. So I'm gonna drag out the layers so that they are at that duration, 7 seconds. All right, let's zoom into this a little bit. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do is add a text layer. Drag that into the timeline. This is the first text that's going to appear. In my case, it's going to say step 1. Choose your font, scale it to your liking. And I'm just going to position this off to the left. This is not the final position, but it's in the general area. It's all going to get dialed in a little bit later at the end. All right, so that's the first text. Second text is going to be the large word that appears in the middle. So we're going to drag down another text layer onto the timeline. It's going to come in a little bit after step 1. So for now, I'm just going to stagger it with a little delay. And this is going to say, in my case, differentiate. Set your font. Okay, I'm going to set the color to a bright green. Let me copy this so that I could use it again later. And we're setting it bright green so that it could be chroma keyed later on in the video. Drag this word across the entire duration because it's going to last all the way to the end. Then we're going to do the rest of this text layer right here. So we're going to copy this text layer, bring it in right here, another stagger, and we're going to change that. Going to position that where we want it. So we have the first set of words in. So let's go ahead and animate those. So the first text that's going to appear is this text right here. So we're going to set an entrance animation. I want it to come in, kind of slide in, appearing from the left. So basically the words are going to appear one after another. So this top one's going to appear, and then you can see the animation end right here. And that's when I'm going to animate this word as well. This time I want this main word to appear coming from the bottom up. So I'll go slide up, okay? And then I want to animate this. But before this can come in, this text needs to disappear. And I want to animate this out. So we're going to choose an exit animation for that first text layer. And I'm going to have it blur left, basically exiting the way it came in. And this next layer is going to come in after that happens. Okay, so this text kind of disappears too fast. So again, depends on what your text is saying. These are things that you're going to want to adjust on your own. Change the duration of how long these text layers hang around. Set the animation for this text layer. I'm going to have it come in the same way from the left. So we're looking for slide right. Now, if you want to animate any one of these internal words, this is how you do it. You click on it, delete the word, and then add a few spaces so that you can slip the word back in there. And I'm going to copy that layer, stagger it again a little bit, and then the word I'm animating in my case is the word want, right? And so this one I'm going to color it a bright green so that it can be chroma keyed later as well. But this one I wanted to animate from the bottom up. So let's look for slide up. Here it is. All right, now let's look at the final positioning right here. Slide it over to the right just a little bit. Let's see how that looks. I think it could use a little more space. I'm gonna add another space. That looks better. That looks good. Now, you can do a slide in animation for this text, but I think I can make it better by kind of doing like a type in effect. So type 2, here we go. And let's increase that animation to 1 second. Now we're gonna add another animation to all of this. And so people are reading along to this, right? So they're gonna read along. You just want to be different. And then as they're reading that, I want this word to change from differentiate to different, right? It's gonna morph. So I'm gonna click on that layer. I'm gonna drop a keyframe. And drop another keyframe a few seconds later. And we're gonna go up in scale. say by 60%. Then I'm gonna slide it over to the right so that that word is centered approximately. And these words eventually are gonna be covered up. So this word differentiate is gonna be morphed into the word different. Now, you can see now that it's scaled up, the spacing between these two texts is different now, right? So we gotta adjust that too. So we're gonna come to these two layers, drop keyframes at the exact same point in the timeline. Come back over here, drop a keyframe here and here. And then we're going to come to that second keyframe and we are going to move it up. I'm going to pay attention to this number right here because this is going to tell me the y-axis. All right, and we're going to do the same thing for this text. And now we're also going to see what that looks like. Right, so I would like to have it. All right, see what that looks like. Nice. Now we're gonna set the exit animations for these two text layers right here, because this is gonna disappear. Then we're gonna have another set of text that are gonna appear right here. All right, so let's have these animate out. I probably choose a blur left just to have them exit the same way they came in. Here we go, we gotta go to out. We're gonna go blur left. Same thing for this layer, blur left. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Good. Now we're gonna have that last set of text come in after that. So I'm just gonna drag in a new text layer. It's gonna come in after those set of texts exit. Let's line it up at the end right here. And this is gonna be the last set of text. Go ahead and type that in. Set your font. In my case, it's gonna be the same as the other font. We're gonna scale it down to the same size. And it's going to be positioned at the end of the text right here. And I'm keeping in mind that y-axis here. And then let's animate that. I want this to kind of have like a word by word entrance. So let's go with type 2. We're going to animate that to 1 second. Now let's do this 1.2. It's a longer sentence. All right. And we're going to animate the internal words just like we did with the other set of text. So we're gonna animate the word anything and we're gonna animate the word make. So we're gonna delete those words and we're gonna put some spaces in there. Then we're gonna copy this layer over to the right a little bit. This one is gonna say anything. Put it to a bright green again so that it can be chroma keyed later. And then we're gonna set the animation to come from the bottom up. So we're looking for slide up. There it is. Animation is gonna be ½ a second for that one. Set the positioning so that it fits. Looks like I need a little more space there. So we're gonna go back to this text layer, add a couple more spaces. And then we're gonna duplicate this text layer, stagger it again. And then this word is gonna be, in my case, it's gonna be make. We're gonna change the animation to slide up as well. Well, it's already there, ½ a second, great. Now we just have to position it to fit. All right, looks like it needs a little more space. So I'm gonna go back and click on this text layer, click right here, add a little more. Now I'm gonna make sure everything is spaced correctly. I think that looks good. Let's clean up these extended edges right here. All right, so let's see what that looks like from the top. All right, that looks good. So now all the texts are set up, the animations are done. Now we just want to hide these last few letters as the text is morphing into this larger text and it's changing from differentiate into different. And in order to do that, we're gonna copy this foreground layer and it has to go on top of that text layer. Okay, so in my case, it's this text layer that it needs to go on top. I'm gonna click, it needs to go on top. I'm gonna click on mask and and horizontal. Then I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. So you can do that by just going 90. And I'm going to drag it so that it only allows the word different to show. But one thing to be sure is to make sure that your playhead is at the moment that that animation starts. So right there. That's where I'm going to drop a keyframe for the mask. All right, and so I'm going to drag that bar so that it only shows the word that I want. Then now I'm going to click on my right arrow on the keyboard and go over frame by frame. And as that word scales up, I'm going to drag this mask over just a little bit so that it continues to cover those letters while displaying the word that I want. So as I'm doing this, it's dropping the keyframes for me automatically, frame by frame. When it stops going, I'm clicking frame by frame here. And so when that animation stops, your keyframes can stop. So now I'm going to remove this until the moment that it's needed at this point right here. And it looks like I might need another keyframe here in the beginning, which I can do. There we go. So let's see what it looks like from the top. Now we're going to make that animation even smoother. So click on this second keyframe right here. We're going to go to basic, to blend, opacity. We'll drop it to 10%. We're going to go keyframe by keyframe. So we're going to go to the next one. And we're going to go 15%. And we're going to go 5% at a time. All right, so the next one will go here. We'll go to 20%. And here, we'll go 25. And then when you get to about 60, you can start to go a little bit faster. So you can go 10% at a time until it goes back to 100. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Okay, so now you see it's a smoother. All right, so let's look at it from the top. All right, so there you have it. Now, everything's in position, all the animations are set up. We're going to highlight the foreground layers and all of the text layers. We're going to create a compound clip. And then on this top layer here, we're going to go to cutout, chroma key, pick that green, bring up that strength until all the green is gone. You don't want to go too much because then you might get these other spots right here. In my case, I think 60 is going to be good, 70. And so once that's done, let's take a look at what we have. All right, now you can just adjust this bottom layer here to brighten it up. You can maybe increase the saturation, give it a little more color, make it brighter, and play with the chroma key. Smooth out those edges a little bit. And there you go. From the top. And there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you in the next video.